That has got to go. Conservatives hate this. Because how is this making America great? You know? In their minds, this isn't making America great. This is not forwarding their ideology, so it has to go. Let's read this horrible executive order. Making the District of Columbia safe and beautiful. Sounds great, doesn't it? As the federal capital city, Washington, D.C. is the only city that belongs to all Americans and that all Americans can claim as theirs. As the capital city of the greatest nation in the history of the world, it should showcase beautiful, clean, and safe public spaces. America's capital must be the place in which residents, commuters, and tourists feel safe at all hours, including on public transit. Its highways, boulevards, and parks should be clean, well-kept, and pleasant. Its monuments, museums, and buildings should reflect and inspire awe and appreciation for the nation's strength, greatness, and heritage. Sounds like a fucking Hitler speech, if you ask me. Our citizens deserve nothing less. Our nation's strength, greatness, and heritage. Yeah, I mean, if I spoke German, I would scream that in German, and you would be like, oh yeah, I hear it. It is the policy of the United States to make the District of Columbia safe, beautiful, and prosperous by preventing crime, punishing criminals, preserving order, protecting our revered American monuments, and promoting beautification of the preservation of the history and heritage. Because that's what's important, the heritage. Most of this is blah, 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 blah. This is the people who will be involved. Interior, transport, Homeland Security, FBI, Marshals, ATF, Attorney Office. Why are all these people going to be involved in making the city better? Well, you'll see here in just a sec. We'll get down to it. The task force may, to the extent permitted by law, request operational assistance from and coordinate with the Metro Police Department. Okay, so some police states. The task force shall coordinate to ensure the federal participation in the following tasks. Very fun. This is the important one right here. Yes, the past is the important. Yeah, exactly. We got to keep that heritage going, you know. I wonder what he means by heritage. I wonder what the fascist means when he says heritage. This is the important one. Deploying a more robust federal law enforcement presence and coordinating with local law enforcement to facilitate the deployment of more robust law enforcement presence as appropriate in areas in and about the District of Columbia, including the National Mall, ensuring that all applicable quality of life, nuisance, and public safety laws are strictly enforced, such as those prohibiting assault, battery, larceny, graffiti, and other vandalism, unpermitted disturbances, and demonstrations, noise, trespassing, public intoxication, drug use, sale, and traffic violations. This is the anti-protest bill of 2025. That's exactly what this is. Anti-protest. What's that? You're making noise? Go to jail for federal crimes. You blocked a car from passing down the street? Go to jail for public crimes. No More Protests Act of 2025. Well, actually, let me change that. Let me restate that. No More Democrat Protests Act of 2025. Because the Proud Boys and the MAGA faithful will be allowed to protest. They have the First Amendment rights that you won't. That's always been the plan of the MAGA faithful. They are the true citizens of America, getting the rights and protections from the Constitution and any other rights and protections that they imagine that the Constitution affords them, you won't get. If you disagree with them, if you disagree with Trump, on any subject, you are the enemy of the state and the Constitution no longer protects you. This is the end goal of American conservatism. This is the purpose of the MAGA faithful. And I call them that. That is my favorite term for them. Everybody has a clever term, maggots or trumpets or something along those lines. But MAGA faithful, I think, is important because we call them faithful, because they don't care about the facts. They don't care about the laws, the rules, the actual reality. Faith is what they have. They have faith in Donald Trump, and if you prove to them that he has lied, they ignore it because they have faith. If you prove that he has said a thing that isn't true, that he has done something to harm them specifically, you can show them hard evidence. They will gloss over it. They are blind to that evidence. And if you're blind to the evidence, it's because you are faithful, the MAGA faithful, will be willingly, intentionally blind if it helps Donald Trump. They will ignore the fact that Democrats aren't allowed to protest anymore, as long as they are allowed to protest. The Proud Boys can block all the traffic and literally do a Jan 6 and break stuff, destroy the place, trash everything, do some violence, and that's acceptable to the conservatives because they'll be blind to it. They won't even see that problem. But if a leftist does a peaceful protest, that's a fucking crime. They do not care about what's real. They do not care about what is true. They are faithful and nothing else. It's the most important part about being part of MAGA, faith in Donald Trump. Ignore the facts, ignore the reality, ignore the law, ignore what anybody else says. Have faith. You want a Nazi rally? Feel free. Yeah, First Amendment. Woo, Pride Parade. As long as the children don't say it. Yeah, exactly. They will pick and choose based on vibes and feelings about which of these rallies is allowed. The rally that is put on by the right wing and pushes right wing agenda, that's fine. That's healthy. That's covered by the First Amendment. But the Pride Parade? Nope, not allowed. That is not acceptable. That is not pushing the MAGA agenda, which means it is not allowed. And they will call it free speech. That's what kills me the most. They will call this free speech because they do not know that they are fascists. That's the problem, I think, is that most of them don't know that you're allowed to disagree with things. So let's see. What does this also lead to? That's how I'm stringing these things together. Elon Musk is paying to have judges. The judges will say that certain protests are illegal and certain protests are allowed. The judges that he buys and pays for, and the senators that Elon buys, and the president that he has bought, will defend their ideology and harm the ideology of the people they don't like. And then that leads into the other executive order that I've promised today, and it's about degenerate art. If a judge agrees with Trump, that's the law, and it needs to be respected. If a judge disagrees with Trump, then he's a terrible nightmare Marxist who needs to be removed from power and impeached. Conservatives will say this sentence to you with a straight face because they're blind. The degenerate art. So we're going to go over to this one right here. We're going to go right here. Restoring truth and sanity to American history. Over the past decade, Americans have witnessed a concerted and widespread effort to rewrite the nation's history. I agree so far, but it's been done by Donald Trump, replacing objective facts with a distorted narrative driven by ideology rather than truth. You know what? Hey, maybe they're talking sense. I kind of agree here so far. I mean, Trump saying that Hillary got 4 million illegal votes was based on ideology, not facts. Trump saying that he won in 2020 was based on ideology and not facts. The people being rounded up by the secret Gestapo police right now and being deported without a trial are literally based on the ideology that they hold, not based on facts. So maybe they're going somewhere with this, or I doubt that that's the direction Trump is going to take this, so let's keep reading. The revisionist movement seeks to undermine the remarkable achievements of the United States by casting its founding principles and historical milestones in a negative light. Under the historical revision, our nation's unparalleled legacy of advancing liberty, individual rights, and human happiness is reconstructed as inherently racist, sexist, and oppressive, and otherwise irredeemably flawed. If you see the past was bad and we're better today, an intelligent person would say, hey, we made progress, we did better things. But they cannot allow the idea that the past wasn't perfect because they are backward-facing ideology. Conservatism is a backward-facing ideology. They look to the past, and if you point out a flaw that happened in the past, they will call you names. They will fight you. Rather than fostering unity and deeper understanding of our shared past, the widespread effort to rewrite history deepens societal divides and fosters a sense of national shame. You should be ashamed of the failures of the past. Do better in the future. That is a forward-facing ideology. But they don't want to face forward. They want to face backward, disregarding the progress America has made and the ideals that continue to inspire millions around the globe. The prior administration advanced this corrosive ideology. No, it's just forward-facing. If you face forward, conservatives hate you. At Independence National Historical Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where our nation declared that all men are created equal. Okay, so he's using the good things wrong. All men are created equal. Listen, Donnie, conservatives, listen. If all men are created equal, and you believe that, but then some of them, the ones with the dark skin, say, hey, we aren't being treated equally. Do something about it. That leads to DEI. DEI is an attempt to make the people who are underrepresented, oppressed, and not being treated equally brought up to equality. But they hate it. They hate it with an unmatched passion. They do not want DEI. Conservatives hate it so much because it proves that things weren't perfect in the past. Their backward-facing ideology wasn't perfect. And that is the point of conservatism. Go backward. Look backward. See the perfection that was in the past. Attempt to achieve it today. Backward-facing ideology. Hates DEI. Let's keep reading. The prior administration sponsored training by an organization that advocates dismantling Western foundations and interrogating institutional racism so that we can be better. Why would you want to understand the foundation? So that you can make it better. You build off of a foundation. You build upward. Forward thinking in the future. You build on top of the foundation. And you can't build on top of that foundation if you are ignoring what it is, if you are denying the reality of that foundation. Interrogating institutional racism is a good thing. If the institution is treating people differently based on their skin tone, you need to recognize it, understand how and why it happened, and then move forward. Conservatives don't want to interrogate that thing. They want to claim it never existed, and pressured national historical park rangers that their racial identity should dictate how they convey history to visiting Americans because America is purportedly racist. It is. Once widely respected as a symbol of American excellence and global icon of cultural achievement, the Smithsonian Institution has, in recent years, come under the influence of a divisive, race-centered ideology. So he's saying divisive instead of degenerate, but it's degenerate, according to him. They would push to use the word degenerate. Yeah, I think it's about to happen. I don't know that they'll use the word because it is so highly tied to Nazis, so they'll use divisive, DEI, or race-centered ideology, rather than degenerate, but it means the same thing. This shift has promoted narratives that portray American and Western values as inherently harmful and oppressive. No, it says that we were harmful and oppressive, and we have gotten better. Look how far we've come since those days. Isn't it better? Continue moving forward. Continue being better. The American Art Museum today features The Shape of Power, Stories of Race in American Sculpture, an exhibit representing that societies, including the United States, have used race to establish and maintain systems of power. Bro, they literally have. He doesn't want this to be true. Conservatives do not want this true statement to exist. Societies, including the United States, have used race to establish and maintain systems of power, privilege, and disenfranchisement. That is a literal fact, and they hate it because it makes them feel bad. Conservatives do not want this literal fact to be explained to anyone because it makes them feel bad. All politics are based on feelings.
Pressing the thumbs up button will release chemicals in your human brain that will make you feel.
The exhibit further claims that sculpture has been a powerful tool in promoting scientific racism and promotes the view that race is not a biological reality but a social construct, stating race is a human invention. Well, race is a human invention. Ethnicities can kind of exist, and it's a complicated subject that needs intelligent conversation, not silence, not shutting everything down and saying that never happened. The National Museum of African American History and Culture has proclaimed that hard work, individualism, and the nuclear family are aspects of white culture. They are. This is literal fucking... This is a fact. Hard work, individualism, and the nuclear family are aspects of white culture. Yes, they are. Bro, that's a fucking fact. Why do you hate facts so much, Donnie? The forthcoming Smithsonian American Women's History Museum plans to celebrate the exploits of male athletes participating in women's sports because, of course, they had to insult trans people because they hate them. They hate them, they hate them, they hate them. And so they have to find them everywhere they are and shit on them. This is leading to Donald Trump and the Vice President, Jan Stans Vance, that's his full name, determining what is allowed within our art, what is acceptable. And this pisses me off. I hate this. This is awful, and I don't want them to be in charge of what is and isn't art. The Nazi Party was all about calling shit degenerate. Yeah. Can't even write a thing concerning other stuff without drowning in a dig against the gays. Yeah, exactly. They can't do anything without hating on some sort of minority. It's their entire modus operandi. Find a person you don't like, point at them, scream about how they're ruining society. This is Nazi shit that Donald Trump is doing. Degenerate art. The Nazi comparisons get easier every day, don't they, guys? Love of the state is what this is about. For fascists like Donald Trump and his followers, the only reason for art to be produced at all is for propagandistic reasons, furthering their goals, their agendas, their ideology. If the art is not somehow glorifying the fascists, it is degenerate. If the art makes you feel any emotion other than pride for the fatherland, it is degenerate. If the art challenges any of the hierarchies that the fascists are propping up, it is degenerate. Let's look at the actual art. Let's find this horrible nightmare degenerate art that he is just trying to get rid of. Shape of Power, Stories of American Race and Sculpture. So there's a sculpture. It's got some African influence and stuff like that. And then that has to go. That has got to go. Conservatives hate this. Because how is this making America great? You know? In their minds, this isn't making America great. This is not forwarding their ideology, so it has to go. We got some descriptions of the stuff down here, and then we've got some events planned, and then we get some photos down here at the bottom. There's some girls saying things. This has got to go. It's fucking woke. This has got to go. It's woke. Look at it. It's woke. This is they might be okay with this one. They might let this one sneak by if they think that it's Roman. These have got to go. This art is not helping America, so the conservatives want it gone. This art is not helping. Look, it's a statue of a black person. It's fucking woke. Get out of here. Yeah, this lady is looking nice, but she might be black hair. You know what I'm saying? Like they might. It depends. So that's gonna have to go. What is this? This doesn't glorify America. Look at this. Look at this thing. That's not glorifying America at all. It has got to go. This, I don't know what that is, but it's not, unless he's holding an American flag, like paint it red, white, and blue, and then maybe they'll allow it. Yeah, what is this? Nobody knows what this even is. Okay, this is not art. Okay, art has soldiers charging up a field. Art has Jesus and or angels making the world a better place. Conservatives do not like this. They don't want it. They do not accept that this is art. This has got to go. This is not furthering Donald Trump's agenda. This is not helping him win in the next election. This is not helping the conservatives to turn judges. It is frivolous and it needs to be gone. According to them, not me. This is me pretending to be a conservative for a few minutes. Now, I think that art is supposed to make you feel things. If you saw those and you felt anything, then that's the point of art. All art is based on feelings. I've been saying this for years. If you've been following the channel, you know this. But the fascists really want to control your feelings. Every concrete law that they pass is about controlling you. No, you can't get same-sex married. That's degenerate. No, you can't protest the government. That's subversive. The perfect state God Emperor Trump is in charge of cannot be criticized. No, you can't immigrate here. You're not the right ethnicity. No, you can't teach that fact about history. It makes us look bad. Control is their purpose, is their point, and they will control everything so that they are on top. But the moral and ethic fights they pick are about controlling your emotions. No, you can't see that statue. It's about race. And the problems of race don't exist. And if they did, that would suggest that we weren't perfect in the past. We can't allow that. No, you can't listen to rap music. That's degenerate. No, you can't watch the new Disney movie that has a slightly gay-coded person on screen for 9 seconds. That is DEI. No, you can't write a story about the history of race struggles in America because there have never been any race struggles in America. America was founded by Jesus himself perfectly with no problems. And if there are any things that seem like problems, that's your fault and not America's. You must have failed somewhere. You cannot criticize America, and any attempt to do so is degenerate. Yeah, in 1776, Jesus himself came back from the grave to found America. Everybody knows this. All the MAGA faithful know this to be fact. Everyone keeps talking, and if you've been on the internet in the past year or two, you've heard people talking about the book 1984 by George Orwell's 1986. We all know the meme. If you have read it, you'll understand why everybody keeps talking about it. If you haven't, I'm giving you a homework assignment. Yes, Professor Waldo is here to give you a homework assignment. Read 1984. It might be deemed degenerate soon and illegal to read it, so you should read it now. I mean, honestly, they might call that degenerate art and get rid of it and throw it in the memory hole. But that's your homework for now. Read it because it will soon be illegal. The reason I and everyone else on the internet keeps mentioning it is because that's exactly what happens in the book. The art that they don't like gets destroyed. Everything is backward and everything is reversed. The Ministry of Love tortures people in that book. The Ministry of Truth lies constantly. The memory hole is where you put information to be deleted. And the people that want to preserve history are the ones changing it. That is what these executive orders are about. Control. Learning who they can push over. Learning who they can throw away. Learning who they can get rid of without too much of a fuss, so that they can continue to revise the history, change what happened in the past so that they can control the future, which will look like yesterday. It's very complicated. Conservatism is incredibly complicated. It's not easy to be one. You actually have to have really complicated thoughts within your head. You have to be dualistic within your own mind. You have to look backwards, revere the past, ignore the failures of the past, claim that they weren't there. There is no racism in America. It's never been there. Jesus built America in 1776 himself. Doesn't matter that the math doesn't work out. Doesn't matter that the year doesn't make any sense. That's not important. Stop thinking about that. Look to the past as what you want the future to be. They're going to drive a stagecoach into the future. That's one of my favorite terms. I don't even remember where the hell I heard it. But conservatives will drive a stagecoach into the future. Doesn't make any sense. It is very complicated to be one.
I am the algorithm. Click on this video to make me happy. You wouldn't like me when I am angry.